CNN's Anderson Cooper, who publicly came out as gay 4 years ago, choked up as he read the names of the victims in Orlando.
There are more than a list of names. There are people who loved and were loved. There are people who had families and friends and dreams.
But Cooper also grilled Florida's Republican Attorney General Pam Bondi for having argued in court against same-sex marriage. The anchor saying he'd talked to gay people about this.
I talked to a lot of gay and lesbian people here yesterday who are not fans of yours and who said that they thought you were being a hypocrite, that you for years have fought, you've basically gone after gay people, said that in court that gay people, simply by fighting for marriage equality, were trying to do harm to the people of Florida, to induce public harm, I believe was the term you used in court. Do you really think you're a champion of the gay community?
Let me tell you, when I was sworn in as Attorney General, I put my hand on the Bible and was sworn to uphold the Constitution of the state of Florida.
But do you worry about using language accusing gay people of trying to do harm to the people of Florida when doesn't that send a message to some people who might have bad ideas in mind?
Anderson, I don't believe gay people could do harm to the state of Florida.
I took this up with Guy Benson, political editor of townhall.com and a Fox News contributor.
Guy Benson, welcome.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me back.
Look, I respect Anderson Cooper, and I think he's generally fair. But in this interview with Pam Bondi, do you think he was acting as more than just an aggressive journalist?
Yeah, he seemed like an activist, and I share your sentiments and general thoughts on Anderson Cooper. Of course, I only watch Fox all the time, but I've heard he's very good at his job. He's a versatile journalist.
But here?
In this circumstance, I thought the line of questioning for the Attorney General of Florida, under the circumstances and given the context of what had just happened in that state, it was a bizarre non sequitur, and it seemed like he was browbeating her for really unrelated political thought crimes in her past, which did not relate to the task at hand, which is roundly condemning the horrific atrocity that happened.
In other words, even if she had gone to court to argue against same-sex marriage in Florida, what did that have to do? Did that make her a bigot?
No.
Was that the underlying premise of Cooper's questioning?
It was, and I think that this is the only way that this line of questioning makes sense is if your underlying assumption is that any opposition to any form of gay rights legislation is rooted in bigotry or hatred. I happen to disagree with Pam Bondi on most of these public policy questions. I happen to be gay myself, but I don't know what's in her heart. I'm not going to assume that because she defended the state's gay marriage ban, she herself is hateful.
Right.
And even though she did those things.
But here's the thing. The New York Times kind of rewarded Cooper with this glowing profile, even though an accompanying news story said he berated Pam Bondi. Now, would the Times have acted differently if he had berated, I don't know, a gun rights activist?
Of course the Times would, because the Times is the Times. But I think overall it is so bizarre that a lot of people don't seem to understand that one can be against gay marriage, for example, and be completely gutted and infuriated and reject in the most forceful terms imaginable violence against gay people. These are two different things.
And on that point, and I should say that Cooper told the New York Times that I'm not here to push an agenda, and he defended his questioning of Pam Bondi as legitimate. But we've been through a lot of these mass shootings. As a gay man, were you struck in a more personal way that this killer targeted this gay nightclub?
Yes. These were gay people targeted because of who they are. They were out carousing with friends, celebrating in what they thought was dancing in a safe area for them, in a culture that has not always been super accepting of gay people, and that's changing, which is a good thing. And they were having drinks, having fun, and this person, based on and rooted in an ideology and his form of religion, he decided that his anger and hatred and bigotry toward that group of Americans was going to result in their deaths, and he executed 49 fellow gay people. Not all of them were gay necessarily, but it is stomach-turning.
And that's true even if the killer turns out to have been gay or latently gay or hanging out at the gay bar or whatever. But what do you make of media coverage and commentary that plays down the fact that 49 mostly gay people were killed there? It says not a hate crime, as opposed to, say, the shooting at the Charleston church, which clearly was targeted at Christians.
All right, well, we have many indications that this was motivated by Islamic extremism, and then I believe it's relatively clear that the motive for choosing the target was based in some sort of hatred.
I think it's beyond debate,
right.
But you have to have noticed that some outlets and some commentators seem to be kind of dancing around that.
There's two things that I feel about that. The first is there is something good that these are Americans who were killed. It doesn't matter, hyphenated Americans.
I agree.
That's fine.
We get to your last point.
That being said, I think it's important to note exactly who was killed and why. And in this case, gay people were the target.
Guy Benson, thanks very much for joining us.
My pleasure.